What is up, everybody? Today we're gonna leave our big fancy camera on the side, and I'm gonna share with you a few tips on how can you make your iPhone footage to look more cinematic. We're gonna go outside and film something, transfer our footage to the computer, color grade it in Premiere Pro. At the end of the video, we're gonna export LUT from Premiere Pro, and I'm gonna show you how can you apply this LUT to videos directly on your phone. Now, let's start. Tip number 1. To achieve cinematic look, you want to film in 24 frames per second. But by default, iPhone shoots in 30 frames per second. Luckily, we can go and change this in the iPhone settings. Tip number 2. Try to film the most of your footage in 1x mode, not the wide angle lens and not the zoom lens, because 1x lens is equivalent to 26 millimeters with 1.5 aperture, which will give you the most background separation. Tip number 3. iPhones tends to overexpose image, so I go to exposure settings and bring down to -0.7 or -1. In that case, you can preserve some details in the highlights, and also your overall image will look more natural. Tip number 4. I was thinking recommended a gimbal, but it almost defeats the purpose of shooting light. On the other hand, if you want to film the entire movie on the iPhone, you still want to consider a gimbal. These days, I would look at the Osmo Mobile 6 from DJI. Tip number 5. You might want to consider to turn on ProRes mode, which will give you more dynamic range, which means a better highlight roll-offs and more details in the shadow. On the other hand, your files will be massive. For example, 1 minute of 4K video in ProRes will be approximately 6 gigabytes. Now, when we got those tips out of the way, I'm going to show you how I color grade my iPhone videos. You transferred your footage from the iPhone to the computer, created a new Premiere Pro project. Now go ahead and drag one of your videos to the timeline. This will create a sequence. Create an adjustment layer and drag it over the clip. On the first adjustment layer, I usually do a basic correction. Exposure, highlights, shadows, whites, blacks, and so on. Also, I add a little bit of saturation. The second adjustment layer, that's where we're gonna create a look for our video. I'm using color wheels to add some teals in the shadows and warms in the midtones. I use curves to modify contrast of the clip. We bring down shadows a little bit, flatten out the blacks, and also flatten out the highlights. Then I usually go and modify the colors of the clip. I use hue versus hue, hue versus saturation, and hue versus luma to do that. In this case, I pulled greens toward the yellow and blues towards the teal. I also decreased a little bit of saturations for greens and blues, and the same goes for luma. In luma versus saturation, I pulled down saturation in the darker areas of the clip, so blacks are still blacks. Now you can see how clip looks without any adjustment layers, with a basic correction and with the basic correction plus look. Now I'm gonna grab another clip and see how this look applies to it. With a small adjustment, it actually fits perfectly. Now I'm gonna show you how can you export this look into the cube file, transfer it to your iPhone, and color grade your footage directly on the phone. In order to do that, go to Lumetri Color tab, click 3 lines, and click Export Cube. In my case, I'm saving this cube file to my iCloud drive, so I can access it from the phone. Now on your phone, open up VideoLUT application, click Select, Organize and Import, click Cube, and click Import. It's gonna open our iCloud drive. I'm selecting my LUTs in my cloud drive, my look, and that's how I'm gonna import it. Open. The LUT file was successfully imported. Now we will open up the video file I want to color correct. Navigate to my imported looks, select Cube, and you can see that it will apply your look directly on the clip you selected. You can adjust intensity And you can also tap on the clip to see before and after. Let's see how this look will apply to the different clip. And you can see after applying a cube file to the video, the colors look much better. And that's how you can color grade your iPhone videos directly on your phone. I hope that information was helpful. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and see you in the next video.